Come in.
Hi, Terry. My
Hi.
name's Maddie. I'm going to be your nurse today.
Okay.
And how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. Enjoying the nice weather outside?
Oh, yes, of course.
Beautiful, beautiful
Finally,
day.
it's warm.
So, it says here in your chart that you're here for a regular appointment. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
Well, to start off, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. We do this kind of for everyone, and so it's going to be just kind of a routine part of your appointment. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, in the past year, have you had 4 or more drinks in a day?
Maybe on occasion, but not often.
Okay. And how about 7 or more in a week, just like a typical week?
Not that I can really think of.
Okay. Have you ever used pot, other street drugs, prescription drugs, or anything like that for non-medical reasons?
Maybe once or twice in high school, but nothing now.
Nothing regular. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever drank more than you meant to?
No, not that I can really remember.
Okay. And have you ever been intoxicated on alcohol or drugs and thought that you might hurt someone else? Maybe by like drinking and driving or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Good. Do you smoke?
I do.
Okay. How much in a typical day?
Probably 2 packs a day.
All right. So in a week, maybe like 14 to
14,
15?
15. Yeah,
Okay.
that range, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about cutting down on like drinking or smoking at any time?
I've thought about cutting down on smoking, but honestly, I've been doing it since I was 14, so it's been quite a long time.
Yeah.
I've been smoking that much for like 10 years.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's been kind of hard.
all right. Well, it's good that you've thought about it, at least. Based off what you told me, your smoking kind of makes me a little bit concerned about your health. I see that you recently were diagnosed with COPD.
Yes.
Do they have you using anything for that, or are you here to see the doctor about that today?
Yes, I'm doing oxygen therapy. I'm meeting with them today, and I have an inhaler
Okay.
for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your smoking habits and maybe how they could be related.
Okay.
Do you smoke when you're stressed or use it as like a coping mechanism?
I kind of do both. I'm really, really stressed out in my home life because I have 2 kids, and then I also have a really stressful job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like kind of like it puts me at ease when I have a couple cigarettes a day. And as a coping mechanism, I would say the same thing. Like for work and stuff, I'll be really stressed out, and I have a really, really mean boss, and so to cope with him and his behaviors towards me, I just take it out on smoking. Smoking.
Okay. I mean, that seems hard. Balancing work and 2 children is definitely not an easy task for anyone to do. Do you think that your smoking affects any of those relationships, either with your kids or anyone else in your life?
Definitely my kids. That's really why I want to stop. It's just so hard. I don't want them to get the effects of secondhand smoking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to look up to me and think that smoking is normal or a good thing because I have COPD, and I don't want them to ever have that or any complications from smoking.
So basically, in summary, you've thought about quitting. On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready do you think you are to quit? 10 being you would want to stop right this second, and 0 being not at all.
Probably a 6.
A 6? Okay, well that's a good spot to start at.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would recommend maybe for the future would be, since you are already at a 6 and you've thought about it, maybe putting those thoughts on paper just to kind of like make them more real for you, and that way we can start moving forward. How about, why are you at a 6 besides a 0, besides your children? Are there any other reasons, or is that just kind of your main one?
It's kind of hard, smoking these days now because everything's so smoke-free.
Mm-hmm.
All like campuses are smoke-free, there's bars that are smoke-free, there's restaurants that are smoke-free, so I always have to, go outside and like a little area and try to smoke it as fast as I can because
Yeah.
you know you can't really do it anywhere. I like my kids is the main reason, and my family members as well.
Okay. Well, maybe we could start off talking about, and we'll talk to the doctor about this first, obviously. But they do have things kind of like nicotine gum or patches, and for the gum, for a lot of people, it's nice to be like doing something with your mouth instead of smoking, because then obviously you don't want to smoke a cigarette and chew gum at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's normally a pretty good option for people. The patch also works for people, and you can kind of like taper down off that and come down off that and take it at your own pace and however you'd like to do it. And would you mind if we scheduled a follow-up visit to talk about all this?
Yeah, the patch and the gum sounds great. I
Okay.
think I spend so much money on cigarettes, and although this will cost money, I don't think if since it's tapered down, I'll end up spending less money on those than I would 2 packs a day.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, besides noting that in your chart, which I'm going to do so that the doctor can maybe talk to you about that a little bit more, and whenever you come back for your follow-up appointment, we can start on one of those kinds of things. For now, do you think that you would be okay with maybe trying to just lower your cigarette amount per day from like 2 packs to 1 until we get kind of more of a stable base to start those?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay. Well, other benefits of quitting smoking, which I'm sure that you obviously don't want to be reliant on drugs for your COPD and want to get that kind of figured out. The sooner you quit, like the sooner your body will start to heal. And so you're young, you have a lot of time. So hopefully that'll do you a lot of good in the future. Tobacco smoke harms non-smokers too, which you obviously know. You're wanting to quit for your children as well, which is a great motivator. And then quitting smoking is the single best way to protect your family from secondhand smoke. I'm going to give you a couple handouts you can go over. Just kind of like risk reducers and whatnot. And after 2 to 5 years, your chance of stroke could fall, the same as the non-smokers. Within 5 years of quitting, your chance of cancer of the mouth, throat, esophagus, and bladder is cut in half. And your risk for heart attack drops sharply just after 1 year of quitting. And so it kind of highlights all those things in there. And I know one thing that a lot of people are really worried about with quitting smoking is weight.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is kind of like a little motivator for you quitting smoking would be maybe starting like a workout routine. And maybe I could work with the doctor and put something like that together for you where you could kind of start off slow. And that way, even though you have COPD, you could maybe get a little more exercise and help build up your lung strength again as you are starting to quit smoking. And then maybe we could use exercise as a stress reliever that's something different than what smoking was for you. You know, kind of like replace the one with the other.
Yeah.
Does
I
that
like
sound
that
good?
plan. Yeah, I really like that plan a lot.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I have for you today. You can keep those documents with you if you want to look them over.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'll tell the doctor that you are thinking about quitting, and I will send him in.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.